Okay, bit of a change of pace now from 4 wheels to 2. The Shell Helix grid for the Superbike. Sean Giles got top position yesterday. Mark Willis alongside Alistair Maxwell and Marty Craggle on the front row.
We go back to row 2. Damon Buckmaster, Greg Moss, Troy Bayliss and Craig Connell.
Row 3 looks like this. Malcolm Campbell on the new Hunwick Hallam, the all-Aussie bike. Steve Martin on the Ducati. Paul Carty on the Team Army bike. And David Emerson on the Melbourne Suzuki.
We then go back to the 4th row. Craig Stafford, Dieter Ackermann and Ross Cooper starting out of 15th position. Away we go. We have got a start. Let's see how they go into the first turn. Craggle got away quite nicely, but so hooted Mark Willis on the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki. There's been a fall. Someone has come down.
Malcolm Campbell on the new Hunwick Hallam, the all-Aussie Superbike. What a disappointment for those guys. He's only got 50 metres, got caught up in that first corner, and he's dropped it.
Oh, that's such a shame for Mal Campbell. The first official race meeting for the Hunwick Hallam. It debuted at the Phillip Island Superbike round. Here he goes, Campbell. And down it goes. He was trying to avoid that rider in front of him. He was coming up very quickly upon him and almost got run over by the 48 machine of Craig Stafford.
Poor old Mal Campbell, 2 times Australian Superbike champion. Keep in mind, this is a prototype bike. He's got it going. Anyway, back at the front of the action, Suzuki in control for the Kawasaki's on this first lap around as they head on the new part of the circuit up Falcon Straight.
Mark Willis is doing a great job. He got away to a terrific start. Then we go back to number 2, Marty Craggle. He also got away to a blinder. Not quite sure what happened to Sean Giles off the line. But the guy, the youngster, he's just turned 21, Mark Willis from Narrabri in New South Wales. This is only his 4th ever Superbike ride, and he is going really, really well. His teammate, Troy Bayliss, has come up incredibly from 7th position off the grid. He's up into 3rd already.
Well, this is a good start for Willis, currently back in 5th position on the Shell Superbike scoreboard. Got 2/3 in that fabulous racing at Phillip Island. And now he's got a great start here at Winton. Very different kind of racetrack. Showing the sort of form that he needs to win this race. Lap 2 of 8, Superbikes on fire, Winton Motor Raceway. Look at the attack from the Kawasaki. Bayliss.
Here goes Marty Craggle on the inside of Mark Willis, and we go back. Damon Buckmaster has come up on the inside of Troy Bayliss. Bayliss is relegated. Then we pick up our pole sitter in bike 19, Sean Giles, Craig Connell. The first of the Ducati dealer team riders up behind him. Working it round. Damon Buckmaster put a good inside move there on Troy Bayliss. Team Kawasaki Australia rider on his way up. His teammates a little further ahead, trying to battle it out with the youngster on the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki.
Real battle between the Japanese manufacturers too. We saw this at Phillip Island. Ducati 6 times World Superbike champions, but this year really struggling the Shell Superbike Series. Look at this attack under brakes for Bayliss, right up the inside.
Fantastic stuff from Troy Bayliss. You saw him grab a big handful of front brake and sort of just pounced down and sort of got a little bit out of shape. He's our current points leader. He makes an inside move. There is an inside move being made. Craggle on Willis, and he's got him. So Marty Craggle now leads this early stage in the race. We then go back to the 2 Ansett Air Freight Suzukis, and Buckmaster hanging on to 4th. Craig Connell has got up past Sean Giles as well.
Terrific fight this. Saw the Suzuki's really come back on form at Phillip Island and continuing that form here today.
Buckmaster sitting back in 4th. He sits 2nd in the championship. His teammate Marty Craggle, who leads this race, is back in 4th position. So they're up there. It's only very early in terms of the season for the Shell Superbike Series. Craggle's on fire at the moment. The new Winton circuit. The first time for the Superbikes here as well.
Sean Giles, fastest man in qualifying in the wet conditions. He's gone right back through the field. He's back in 5th position at the moment. Melbourne Ansett Air Freight Suzukis continuing the fight, taking it right over the Kawasaki's as they brake hard down toward Falcon Straight once again.
There he is. He's got Goddard's leathers on, but it isn't Peter Goddard, I can assure you of that. It's young Mark Willis. Probably the hottest thing in Australian motorcycle racing at the moment. He's still got a bit of time to go though. He's got to prove himself. It's only his 4th Superbike ride. He's come out of 600 Supersport. But boy, oh boy, at the age of 21, he sure does look promising. He won the RK Chain Samurai Trophy after the first round of the World Superbike Championship at Phillip Island for the most improved domestic rider here in Australia. He has got a big future.
Marty Craggle still in control on the Kawasaki. It's Mark Willis on the Suzuki, trying to close to the gap of the Kawasaki, but very, very evenly matched around this very tight, twisty Winton Motor Raceway.
Mark, we're getting some good shots as well. Creeping up in the background, let's give him some credit, the Queenslander Craig Connell, the first of the Ducati dealer team riders. Watch him at the back of this group. There he is, bike number 7. He is coming right up on Troy Bayliss. He was just taking it a little bit tentatively in the wet yesterday. He qualified 8th, but he is on the pace big time. There he is there, Craig Connell.
Ducati dealer team, one last result. They have been struggling this year. Points at the moment, Bayliss in first, Buckmaster Championship points, Martin and Craggle. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the championship points. If we look at the Shell Helix race score, there's your race order. Giles, pole position man, back in 6th position on the Honda. Great run in qualifying, but not producing that form in the race. Right back, Moss, Martin, Emerson and Cooper. That's the top 10.
New teammate for Craig Connell in the Ducati camp as well. You remember the name Steve Martin on the Melbourne Suzuki. That was when he was a privateer. He has now been given a fantastic opportunity to ride for a factory team, and he is the second Ducati dealer team rider. He's a little further back in 8th position. Here goes Connell on Bayliss. He's got him. A beautiful braking manoeuvre in the Motorsport News S's. Great work there by Craig Connell. Here goes Bayliss back on the inside, and Troy's got him. So they come down into auto action corner now. Craig has a look back up on the inside. This is great racing.
Fabulous fight back from Bayliss too. He only qualified 7th on the Suzuki GSXR 750. Very fast bike at Phillip Island. They were struggling in qualifying in those wet conditions, but now showing tremendous speed on this dry track.
2 times Australian 250 Grand Prix champ Craig Connell is fighting it out with the Shell Series points leader at the moment, Troy Bayliss, who had just an awesome round at the opening round of the World Superbike Championship at Phillip Island. Bayliss is very happy with his form this year. So too his team owner and manager, Peter Goddard. Round coming down on the old back straight, Dunlop straight. This is where they now turn hard left and go onto the new section. The Superbikes look good here at the new Winton circuit.
Bayliss back there in 5th position. Braking hard. New part of the circuit gets the bike cranked right over. Incredible amount of grip from these tyres. You realise it's just the contact patch the size of a matchbox, putting out about 160 brake horsepower. That package only weighs about 160 kilograms. Tremendous performance in the wet conditions yesterday. Our pole position man, Sean Giles, actually out-qualified the V8 supercars. There's the speed, 217 kilometres an hour down that pit straight for Bayliss.
Well, Troy Bayliss really has done a terrific job in first qualifying. The Superbikes have 2 qualifying sessions and the times are combined. Obviously the fastest from both starts from pole, and that was Sean Giles. Bayliss was quickest in the first qualifying session in the wet yesterday. In the second session, he only got to do a couple of laps. He had a little bit of an off, went off the circuit, couldn't rejoin and had to sit on the side, and his time from the first session only got him up to 7th position. So he's done very well. He sits in 4th at the moment. It is still Marty Craggle who leads the way from Mark Willis and Damon Buckmaster.
It's Bayliss, Connell, Giles, Moss, Martin, Maxwell and Emerson. That's the top 10. Look at Mad Eyes Craggle, they call him. Tucks down behind the screen, trying to get a little bit more straight line speed. Minimum amount of aerodynamic drag on these short straights. It all makes a difference at the end of a lap.
Zurich Kawasaki's doing well at the moment, 1 and 3. Craggle is the main man though, lap 6 of 8. Time is running out. Looks pretty comfortable. He has a reasonable gap over Mark Willis. That shot shows you there pretty well. And it's roughly about the same back to Damon Buckmaster also.
Marty Craggle from St Albans in Melbourne. The Kawasaki ZXR Double R. Latest bike from Kawasaki. 2 laps to go as they come on to the start. Finish straight once again. Willis trying to close the gap to Craggle, monitoring that gap. He's just squeezing everything out of this Ansett Air Freight Suzuki to try and close the gap to the Kawasaki.
Well, Mark, it's interesting you say that because one of Mark Willis's strongest characteristics is his finishing ability. We saw it at the last round of the Shell Superbike Series at Phillip Island, where his last lap was just something else. It was sensational. Here he is here, the young 21-year-old. Talking to Ken Wootton from Motorcycle News, Australian Motorcycle News, he said, you can no longer call him a youngster, he's now a veteran, he's turned 21.
So Martin Craggle still in control of this race, and he's starting to feel the heat. Young Craig Willis 21 years of age, starting to really attack on the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki. Laps running out.
Just getting back to that earlier incident on at the beginning in the first turn when Mal Campbell, and we were talking about the Hunwick Hallam. If you haven't heard about that, it is an Australian design and manufactured machine by Australians. Two guys have done a terrific job, and this was its first official race meeting. That's something that they wouldn't have expected to happen, and I guess we'll be feeling a little bit disappointed, but look for good things in the future from the Hunwick Hallam.
Leaders come through. 1 lap to go. Crunch time for Craig Willis. He's running out of options here if he's going to close the gap to our race leader, Marty Craggle. Buckmaster back in third, Bayliss in fourth. So this leading bunch really starting to close up on this final tour.
Keep your eyes on Craig Connell, whether he can do anything about Bayliss. Look at the bike moving from underneath him. He does a good job. He doesn't mind when it gets a little bit loose. He can hang on to it pretty well. And they're starting to come up on a little bit of traffic now. Looks like Bayliss has bridged that gap slightly to Damon Buckmaster, and Craig Connell is staying in touch as well. This has been fantastic Superbike action.
Look how much the field bunches up as they come through the Strathfield hairpin now up to Repco corner. Very tight, twisty part of the circuit. The field really tends to bunch up. Willis sees opportunity ahead of him. Good run onto this straight. Head down toward the new part of the circuit once again, but Craggle really has his measure. Plenty of power from the Kawasaki ZX7 Triple R.
Well, a couple of hard braking corners coming up. An opportunity for maybe Mark Willis to pick up Craggle under brakes, but he's a little too far back at the moment. He catches up a minuscule there. Willis trying everything he can on Craggle. Here comes Connell. We just got a quick shot there of him starting to menace Bayliss again. There's only 3 corners left to run though. Can Marty Craggle hang on to it?
Oh, look at this big run down the inside by Willis. Not close enough though. Just thought there may have been an opportunity to the S's the first time around. If Craggle can hold it together, he'll win this one.
Coming up towards the finish line, the checkered flag is out. Willis tries everything he possibly can, but he couldn't quite get there. Well done to that man. The Zurich Kawasaki, the Team Kawasaki Australia rider, Marty Craggle, in for the win, ahead of the youngster, Mark Willis, who put in a really good effort right down to the line. He will get in there for second, ahead of the second Team Kawasaki rider, Damon Buckmaster, will pick up third. Let's have a look at the final results right the way through. This is Marty Craggle in for the win. Willis, Buckmaster, as we said. Troy Bayliss got in there for fourth, and Craig Connell rounded out the top 5. Well, stay with us. We'll be back right after this.